Wonderful Sunday morning in America, Canada, Latin America, and Sunday afternoon in entire European Union. And we come little further, Central Asia, where people are enjoying their evening tea. And that same thing is happening in Middle East also. Come little further, people are just having their dinner, early dinner. People, those are very conscious about their health. I'm pretty sure they are having their evening early dinner, and I'm talking about beautiful Bharat. And go little ahead, people are about to have their glass of milk, cup of milk, Bonvita, whatever they want before they sleep, and whatever they take, and that's the ASEAN countries. But finally, Australia and New Zealand let them sleep because it's mid of the night. Let them go to rest. Today is a very important subject. When Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji is sleeping, all of us, we have woken up. And let's talk about it. What is that? Hearty welcome, because every Sunday evening, India's time, so green morning, green afternoon, green evening. When I talk about green morning, because our distinguished guest and our advisor from United States, Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajanji, Professor of Marketing, Lamar University, Texas, is with us. Every time we get a lot of speakers over here, but I requested him, maybe after 4, 5, 6 speakers, can we have some marathon? Can we deliberate on what all has been discussed? And during the 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and thereafter, we together, both of us, he being an advisor sitting over there, and we here in India, we take our journey forward. So, hearty welcome to Awadh Narayan Dikshit ji from Lucknow, Mamta Chauhan ji, Sakshi ji, and yes, Sakshi is the winner today. Sakshi, you get 1,000 rupees for logging in on the YouTube, being the first person this evening. Today, deliberation is going to be very, very interesting. And Awadh Narayan Dikshit ji, it is going to be very meaningful for your Uttar Pradesh project also. Listen each and every word very carefully. And same thing goes for my friend, our that who is sitting in Tamil Nadu, because what's his name? Arumugamji. So Arumugamji, it is very important for you also, and you are such a fine person. I feel so very happy because you sent me today one WhatsApp from Tamil Nadu, from that railway station where you had gone and you clicked it, where Swami Vivekanandji got down from the train when he got back from United States to Kanyakumari, and when he was moving by train, the place where he said, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. And that was Tamil Nadu. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful to Arumugamji. He sent across to me that today, and I was so delighted and to go through that. Arun Gargji, hearty welcome to you also. Mamta ji, hearty welcome to you. So let me roll in. In India, we had two different organizations when I talk about, and these two different organizations, they were doing great job earlier. One was NSDA, that stands for National Skills Development Agency. And the second one was NCVT, that is National Council for Vocational Training. These two bodies have been merged by the government of India now, and legislation, law, and rule or constitution or whatever you say, it has been formed, and now there is one identity, one body, and that is called NCVET, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. What is vocational education? Which country world over is doing the best in vocational education? Today we'll talk about. When we discuss with Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajanji, we will list out the top 5 countries of the world which are doing the best as far as vocational education is concerned. All our participants, you're also advised. You can also write in the YouTube channel that which are the 5 top countries world over which are doing extremely well as far as vocational education is concerned. What is the topic today? I'm so excited. I'm so charged. I'm having flow of so much of energy today because it is 813th webinar. Wow. We have come a long way. I think consistency and like practice, practice, practice. We have focused only on education, skills, competencies, capabilities, capacity building, all that we have been talking about. And when we talk about today, is the new education policy 2020, onto which we had a lot of deliberation with lots of guest speakers, our distinguished guests from time to time. And me and Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajanji had been taking this journey forward. Today, ladies and gentlemen, there are two areas we are going to focus. One is sector skill councils. There are 39 sector skill councils in India under the aegis of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. And then there is something known as vocational education. We will talk about that as well. Our Chamber High CSI extends you a very warm welcome this evening, this morning, this afternoon, and our purpose is तीन शब्दों पर संसार टिका है, making education relevant, making education relevant, Monday to Sunday. Now, during the lockdown, the first wave when it had come, the thought processes they got affected, the businesses they got affected, physical and mental health got affected, and the main part of the universe, entire education got disrupted. I won't call affected, it got disrupted. And this corona and this pandemic, it came like a tsunami. And whether school education or higher education or technical education, vocational education, skill education, wherever it is, and the UNESCO data shows 1.65 billion children, they were away. But India always believes, let the entire world live like one family. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Our culture, our social, our economic, and our personal. These are the areas. Heartiest congratulations to Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and Honorable Education Minister of India, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji. The new education policy 2020, the beginning of the new era, and 29th of July at 4 p.m. in the evening, ladies and gentlemen, in the thick of the pandemic, there were deliberations on the new education policy and announcement. The government gives a signal. So now there are three stages. Education policy being announced, it becomes a constitutional identity after it gets approval from the cabinet and to the parliament. Thereafter, national curriculum framework to be developed, and then finally implementation. And our chamber stage is monitoring what's being implemented, because a promise has been made that 6% of the GDP in India will be spent towards education empowerment. Education is now learning centric as far as the new education policy is concerned. Teaching centric, moving to learning centric, moving to facilitation centric, and now as a teacher, you're the co learner along with the youth. Now, what is vocational education? What exactly is vocational education? Why vocational education? What kind of a training is required? Is it skills? Is it coaching? Is it knowledge? Is it teaching? Is it learning? Is it workshop? Or is it overall development which has to take place? Is skills more important or is knowledge more important? But I see in the block skill is more important, because knowledge on the top, even if you get less knowledge, but if you're skilled, you can do wonders on this planet. Today, more than the knowledge, skill matters, because it's the skill that guides us which knowledge to be used where. No problem if you have less knowledge. But with more important is, if you have a right skill at the right time, at the right place, in the right proportion, in the right packaging, moving towards competency, in today's world, you will be grand success wherever you will be. Education to be rebuilt with the holistic approach. Now, everybody talks about what is holistic approach, and is it skilling or is it reskilling? And what is the mantra for educators to impart right kind of education after they get reskilled? Soft skills are going to play a very important role post COVID, because now somewhere the muted virus is coming. Some of the countries are having some more challenges now. In India, also in certain states, certain pockets, certain regions, cases are increasing. But people, you got to take necessary precautions. You got to be taking care of yourself. Please become self responsible. The government can only give rules and regulations and directions. But if you do not follow, then you suffer. Okay. What are the 5 core competencies for a post pandemic world? Adaptability, creativity, critical thinking, resilience, and self management. Honorable Prime Minister is very keen to make India Atmanirbhar Bharat. Start up, stand up, make in India, assemble in India, build in India, and start, run, grow. Your business will be with us and growing. India has to become self-reliant. India has to become Atmanirbhar. That is something very important which we all have to realize. Self-employment is very, very important. Be your own boss. You got to be an entrepreneur. Don't think about getting a job. Start up, start up, start up. Micro, small, and the medium enterprise. They're giving a lot of lucrative policies, and a lot of things are coming up to support the youth. Those are innovative. If you have an idea, implement that idea. Idea remains idea unless it doesn't move to the stage of implementation. I think ek kadam aage badhiye, you will grow, you will rise, you will move ahead. Take the help of Ministry of Micro, Small and the Medium Enterprise. And at the same time, all the schemes are listed over here. All the youth, you are requested to get yourself registered and take maximum benefits from the government schemes. Now, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, you remember 15th of July 2014? In May, Modi ji had taken care and he took over in 2014. The moment he took the saddle and the responsibility, immediately his priority, one of the priority was how to develop the skill, Kaushalta. And there, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and couple of other projects had come. Now, sector skill councils, as we have been told, there are 39 sector skill councils. If you go through the website of nationalskillsnetwork.in, you will be able to get, it is listed over here. Kindly, I would request all of you, please go through, see all these, what we have got over here. Mamta ji is writing, in vocational training education, prepare student for specific career disregarding traditional, unrelated academic subjects. Arun ji is writing, center of excellence is a good term which we should use. And also, skillful man is hero everywhere. That is also being written by Arun ji. Great. Great input of yours. We feel very happy. And Vipul ji is writing, Guru ji pranam. Are Vipul ji, aap bhi guru hain apne kshetra mein. Sakshi is writing, Germany is the 6th place and is strongest in the know-how pillar. The country has highly educated older generation. Yes, Sakshi, you are so true. Write the first 5 also. Mamta is writing, Switzerland is the 3rd place, also has a very high quality education system, including staff training as well as a strong rate of vocational education. एक नंबर से लिखो ना, 3 नंबर और 5 नंबर लिख रहे हो. So there are 39 sector skill councils in India, and they are under the aegis of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. We are grateful and we are very happy that we, during the Corona time, we partnered and we got most valuable input from the Sector Skill Council of Management and Entrepreneurship and Professional Skill Council, Colonel Ali Kumar Pokhriyal ji, along with his subaltern, that is Santosh Kumar ji. They had given very valuable inputs. Here comes the handsome man, Mr. Mohit Soni, the CEO, Media Entertainment Skill Council, along with his team, and particularly Pooja Arora. She coordinated the entire series, and we had almost about 100 programs with them. Sector Skill Council for Wellness and Holistic Healing. Very dynamic woman, that is Monica Burr. And Monica ji had given us so many valuable inputs. It was a pleasure to have her with us, and we have run a large number of programs. And if you see over here, Monica Behelji ke saath, she's the CEO of the Wellness and Holistic Healing, our Sector Skill Council. The 100th webinar on 15th of August, we had organized with her. It was wonderful, wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in your service right from the beginning and right from the morning till evening. If you see this slide is very valuable, you will come to know what all our chamber is doing at present. When we are talking about skills, we are doing programs for women and child empowerment, education, skills, and competencies. And when we talk about this, we talk about startups, we talk about stand-ups, we talk about entrepreneurs, all the places wherever it is possible. And we want to encourage our younger generation, more and more people, they should come forward and they should take a plunge. And unless you don't take a plunge, unless you don't move ahead, how are you going to be benefited? That is something very important which you have to take care of, and you have to move ahead. Okay, right. Let me just now go ahead and share some more people what they are writing and what they are sending to us. Mamta ji is writing, Norway performs well on the sub-index ranking first in the world for the availability of the skilled employees in education sector also, in skill sector also. Who is number two? Who is number four? Because you have given me number three and number five. Okay. We have got, look at the complete canvas. And Sunday evening, you have got NRIs. It is right listed over here. Can you imagine since morning how many programs we had? Oh my God, some of the programs are not listed here. 9:30 we started. That is Vidya Se Adhyatam Vidya Ki Aur with Professor Satendra Dhiman from the Woodbury University, Burbank, California, Los Angeles, United States. Thereafter, we moved to cinematic tourism, radio, television, theater, music, films, and how the shooting takes place in Switzerland and how the films are being made in Canada and what exactly is happening in India. What is the need of the hour? Then at 12:30, you had waste to resource management. 3 o'clock, India ASEAN focused northeast part of India. And thereafter, we had moved on at 5 p.m. MSME, micro, small, and medium enterprise. That is Rabindranath ji who chaired the session. And now, ladies and gentlemen, every Sunday at this point of time, we are with our brothers and sisters, the non-resident Indians, those are abroad, and that is we are talking about Indian diaspora. They play very important role. If Indian education system has to be empowered, they can play very important role for all of us. They can give lot of valuable inputs to us. We can have their innovations. We can have their networking. We can have their educational knowledge. We can have lot of inputs coming from the NRIs. It's all up to us. How do we make best use of their sources, resources, networking, knowledge, whatever they can share with us. And that is the way. Can you imagine? I'm doing two tasks together because a lot of things are happening over here and a lot of people are sending me basically their inputs. So I got to take on that also because I want people to be recognized. Those are writing good things over here. Great. So thereafter, let me just proceed. What is our chamber's vision? Teachers and youth empowerment, making India Atmanirbhar Bharat. The Honorable Prime Minister of India has not taken even one day holiday from the time he has taken the responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we relax? How we can take holiday? Where is Saturday? Where is Sunday? No holiday. If you want India to become Atmanirbhar Bharat, if you want, do you feel that when India was fighting for the freedom struggle, when India was fighting to get independence, was there any Saturday, Sunday? Did you ever take a holiday at that point of time? How dare can we think about taking a holiday at this point of time? Every day you should contribute. You might not be going to school, you might not be going to college, you might not be going to your working place, but right from your residence, you can contribute to India. You can contribute in any form to India. If I'm talking to you at this point of time, I personally feel my soul, my cerebrum, my spirit, my knowledge, whatsoever I have gained in a very humble way, I wish to share with all of you, because we got to empower every teacher. We got to empower every youth. We got to empower everybody. Now, I'm going to challenge. Finally, I'm taking a responsibility of 133 students, the youth. Those are doing their tourism, those are doing their hospitality, those are doing their airlines. I told them, each one of you, children, they don't want to attend the classes. Children, they don't want to come to colleges. Children, they don't want to come even online and study. Have we ever tried to find a reason on that? No. I do not want to talk, because people say praise in public and criticize in private. I repeat it: praise in public and criticize in private. Praise in public. Today, I do not want to tell anybody. Each one of us, wherever you are, whatsoever subject you are teaching, please work hard. Please put in more efforts. Please become good teacher. Please become innovative teacher. Please become creative teacher. Please add value to yourself every day. Add value to yourself every day. You can be the best teacher. When you look towards one particular program and you say, oh, there is a gentleman from Maharashtra who got the best global teacher award, you can also get. You can also get. It requires consistency. It requires hard work. It requires practice. It requires passion. It requires dedication. It requires devotion. And it requires where you start meditating with your subject. You start making your subject musical. You start making your subject enjoyable. I can vouch for it. I have not to read any book on tourism. Tourism is fascination. Tourism, people, those are in tourism business or those are in tourism profession, you all are dream merchants. You should know how to sell dreams, and those dreams should come true whatsoever you make commitment to others. So thereby, what I wish to share with all of you, anything and everything is possible on this. My friend Sanjeev Bhardwaj is writing incredible, and he is saying very true. And Mamta ji, well said. And Sakshi ji, जब आप आत्मनिर्भर बनने का प्रयास करते हैं, तब आप आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाने का भी प्रयास करते हैं. Yes, Sakshi, very good. And then comes motivational program. Okay, great information. Mamta ji, amazing session. Thank you. अभी तो मेरा my co-brother has not come from United States, who is waiting because I'm still talking. So I'm very proud that our chamber, it brought in 1994 India's first finishing school for service industry. When we talk about personality enhancement, when we talk about communication skills, when we talk about creative thinking, critical thinking, analytical thinking, logical thinking, out of the box thinking, values, ethics, happiness, music, I always tell why music is not the part of education. And ladies and gentlemen, our chamber wholeheartedly, now it has come post corona where people are talking about soft skills and life skills. Are we have been talking from 1994. We didn't know at that point of time that after coronavirus comes, these skills are going to become so important. We have listed out more than, and now, of course, the size has increased, range has increased, canvas has increased. We have been focusing on 135 soft skills. Life skill क्या है? Life skill, what is exactly life skill? Whatever you are teaching, whatever you are learning, it should be relevant to my day-to-day life. मुझे अपने घर का बल्ब चेंज करना आना चाहिए, मुझे एसी का समझ आना चाहिए, मुझे कंप्यूटर का समझ आना चाहिए, बेसिक प्लग समझ आना चाहिए, मेरे घर में सब्जी क्या उग रही है वो समझ आना चाहिए, पानी कम कैसे यूटिलाइज करना है वो समझ आना चाहिए, बिजली कैसे कम यूज करनी है वो आना चाहिए. अरे थियोरिटिकल करिकुलम पढ़ाए जा रहे हैं, पढ़ाए जा रहे हैं, पढ़ाए जा रहे हैं, बच्चे की जान लोगे क्या? That part is very important. Why don't we make education interesting? And now You have got education now through the music, through the games, the gamification, now incubation centers, Atal Tinkering Lab, and we are also talking about finishing lab. Any school, any college, any organization which needs a finishing lab, जो आपके स्कूल में, कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटी में जो एक टूटा हुआ कमरा है जिसमें टूटा फर्नीचर रखा है, उसको बाहर निकालिए, बेच दिए, उसके भी कुछ पैसे आएंगे, उसको डिस्टेम्पर कीजिए, तैयार कीजिए, उसको फिनिशिंग लैब में कन्वर्ट कर दीजिए. You can change the universe. Each one of us on this planet matters. Each one of us who is who is consuming oxygen. When I'm talking about consuming oxygen, there's something very interesting I wish to share with all of you. I may not forget later on. Recently, somebody had fallen sick in Italy. I'm sorry to share this, but then it's something very serious. Somebody had fallen sick in Italy and he was hospitalized, and they found that he is having positive symptoms. And thereafter, they put him onto the oxygen, everything, and 3 days. And fortunately, he survived. May God bless that person. So he survived. He is about 70 plus. And thereafter, they gave him the bill when he was getting discharged from the hospital. He started crying. He started having tears. So the nurse, she ran and she went to the doctor, and the cluster of doctors, the group of doctors, they came over there and they told, please, 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 sir, don't cry. If you don't have money, if you can't pay the bill, there is no problem. But please don't cry. Don't cry. We will not charge any money from you. And he told, I'm sorry, I'm not crying that I have to pay. I can pay. I will pay. There is no problem. I'm crying that for three days, staying over here and consuming this artificial oxygen cylinder, I have to pay $3,000. All these 70 years, God had given me free oxygen, and I never remembered God. I never valued God. I never thought about it that He is giving me free oxygen. Kita, I'm crying for that I missed the boat. 70 years, why I didn't realize it is somebody who's giving me free oxygen. He says, my tears are basically because now I realized that when you get something free, you don't value that. My team, and Sanjeev Bhardwaj is also part of that team. I'm proud of him, such a wonderful soul. And we were giving everything free to children, and they were not valuing that. They were not realizing that, and they were they were finding one or the other excuse. So I think it's a great learning on this planet. All of us, we learn so much. And something which comes to mind anyway, during the pandemic, ICSI has done a lot of research. We collected a lot of data, and our basic finding is kindly focus on your own basic food. Take a very normal, simple food. You will not fall sick. If you can grow your own vegetables, try and do organic kheti. Take care of your health in an organic way. And education, we have to move on now. It's a digital education. It's a blended education. It's a flip education. It's outside classroom education. And B2B is now back to basics of life. It's no more business to business. There has to be a sustainable development across the world. That is something very important. So, ladies and gentlemen, whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's get together. Let's come together. Let's make education relevant. This is something very interesting I'm sharing with all of you. And I would like to unveil in a little while something which is the theme and why we are talking this all today. It's very important. What are the future challenges? क्या हम बच्चों को एकेडमिक्स दें? क्या हम बच्चों को सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाते रहें? क्या हम उनकी परसेंटेज पर फोकस करें? क्या हम उन बच्चों की प्राइवेट कोचिंग के लिए, कोटा के लिए फोकस करें? क्या हम बच्चों के लिए स्ट्रगल करके बच्चों को प्रेशराइज करते रहें कि 98% मार्क्स लेके आओ? या एजुकेशन को इंटरेस्टिंग कर दें, एजुकेशन में म्यूजिक ले आए, एजुकेशन में गेम्स ले आए, एजुकेशन के अंदर स्टिमुलेशन ले आए, एजुकेशन को फन बना दें? ऑल दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और साथ ही साथ बच्चों को स्किल, वोकेशनल एजुकेशन एंड ट्रेनिंग. as the labor market, now this is something very important you all have to understand. When I'm talking about labor market, that means पूरे संसार में जीने के लिए काम तो करना होगा ना. As the labor market becomes more specialized and economies demand higher level of skills, the governments and businesses, they are increasingly investing in the future of vocational education through public funds. जो पब्लिकली फंडेड ट्रेनिंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं और अप्रेंटिसशिप आगे आ रही है, एंड ऑल दैट यू हैव टू रियलाइज दैट द फ्यूचर इज वोकेशनल एजुकेशन स्किल्स एंड ट्रेनिंग. अभी देखिए, समथिंग वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, आई एम टॉकिंग टू यू इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ इंडिया. जो इंफॉर्मेशन आपको यहां मिलेगी ये कहीं नहीं मिलेगी. इट्स अ लॉट ऑफ रिसर्च विच डॉक्टर चित्रा कपूर हैज डन एंड माय टीम हैज डन. आई एम ग्रेटफुल टू ऑल ऑफ देम. द नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क, अब ये क्या है? Last 15 years, there is no change in that. And now the NCRT, which is responsible for school education, they are working onto it. And the entire curriculum is getting now updated. So far, the national curriculum framework, it has undergone revision 4 times. In 1975, in 1988, in 2000 and 2005. 2005 के बाद नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क में चेंज हुआ ही नहीं. And that's why down below I am writing the authority where from the knowledge and the information has been picked up. And there was a very big article you must go through, Hindustan Times, and they have given that now it was to be done by March 2021. They may take a little more time, but it's something very interesting. Oh, I'm proud. Vikas Malhotra is joining me from Canada. Greetings. Very important points regarding education of the new world. Yes, Vikas ji, we are proud of you. Vikas Malhotra was with me in 1994. Very hardworking, very sincere, very dedicated, very devoted, always focused what he wants in life. From India, he went to Dubai. From Dubai, he went to Canada, and he's working very hard. We are proud of him. Wonderful person, doing extremely, extremely well, whatever he is doing. Now, let's come on to the national curriculum framework. This information you will not get left and right. Note down, 1975, first time after 1947, it was revised. Then in 1988, then in 2000, then in 2005. Now let's move ahead. This slide is further very important. Now somebody may say how it is important, why it is important, what do you want to show? Let me just try and see. Oh, I've gone back to the other slide, which I have to come back in 1 second so that we are on the common frequency. I was just trying if I can convert it. Yes, which I talk about. Now you can see, because I wanted to show you the GIF. Are you seeing the GIF now? The colors are changing. How it is changing? The world population is aging. You got to understand. World over, the population is aging. There are certain countries which will provide the young generation, and India is going to be youngistan. India is going to be youngest nation of the world. Now kindly see over here. Very important information in 3 circles. In 2015, 901 million, that means 12.3% of the total world population was above 60 years. This information is very important. It's a combination of a lot of research. Please understand. In 2015, when we talk about world population, in entire world, 901 million people, they were 60 year plus. That means 60 and above. That makes 12.3%. Now let's move to 2030, because today we are in 2021. What's going to be the scenario in next 9 years? 16.5% of the total world population, that is 1,402 million people, are going to be above 60 years of age. And when I come to 2050, it's going to cross 2,000 million. When I talk about 2000 million, then who would provide the young information? Who would give the young generation? Julie ma'am, hearty welcome to you. Pleasure to have you with us. BB Subaji, hearty welcome. Gurinder ji, thank you very much. All those are joining, please post your comments on the YouTube. It gives me energy. I'll feel very happy. The more you pass your comments, I feel very, very happy. Please write your views, your comments, and any information you want to share. I will pronounce your name, I will announce your name, and I'll share the information. Knowledge is to be shared with everybody. On the right hand side, if you see, the colors are changing. Those colors which are changing, percentage aged 60 years or older, 30%, 10 to 30%, that means less than 30% and less than 10%. Now, who is going to play important role in the world? Who are the people those are going to give that manpower? How the world is going to change? You got to understand that. It's very, very important. And this information is from the World Health Organization. The world population in 2021, what it is going to be, this is the scenario world over when I talk about, but roughly you can take it in your mind. The world population in 2021 today, it is this. In 2021, this is the world population when I'm talking about. And in 2050, it is going to be 9.74 billion. Can you imagine? We will be touching almost 10 billion people on this planet in 2050. Avad Narayan Dixit ji is writing from Lucknow. True. The world needs young, trained, and motivated, skilled individuals. Sakshi is writing excellent program. Joba Lakshmi ji, wonderful session. Arun Garg ji is writing, ask Chief Minister Punjab to turn vocational as special need of the 21st century. Vipul Khungarji, great job. And Sakshi, fantastic session. Great. Keep writing, keep writing. Whatever you write, it gives me lots of energy. Okay. Now, this is very important information. And I've given you the breakdown also continent wise. What will happen in Africa? What will happen in Asia and other regions? You can see the continents. So, world population, keep it in mind, it's going to be 9.74 billion people. You require food, you require water, you require oxygen, you require transportation, you require education, you require employment, you require entrepreneurship, you require everything for them. Okay. What is the world population today? It's 7.9 billion. And 7.9 billion, can you imagine what a musical figure? 7.9 will become 9.7. It's going to be reverse. It is 9.7 and this is 7.9. Oh my God. And what will happen? The migration of the youth from populated countries to aging population regions world over. You cannot stop this migration. Some of the people will become so old that robotics, artificial intelligence, and others got to be taking care of them. That's what we all have to understand. Thereafter, ladies and gentlemen, international curriculum framework will be required to be developed. At present, what do we have? National curriculum framework. I'm coming back to this again so that you understand. At present, India has got its own curriculum. It has got its own setup. It has got its own way. We got to move on to international curriculum framework. And when you move to international curriculum framework, you got to understand what is required in those countries जहां पर आप जाएंगे वहां की क्या जरूरत है. तो पहली बात, क्या हमारे पास क्वालिफाइड टीचर्स हैं जो वो चीजें पढ़ाएं जो वहां होंगी? जब तक उनका एक्सपोजर नहीं होगा तो उनको कैसे पता लगेगा कि वहां क्या चाहिए होगा? और दूसरी बात, जब तक वो बाहर ट्रैवल नहीं किए होंगे तो उनको कैसे पता लगेगा कि वहां क्या हो रहा है? एनीवे, यू विल टेल मी कि यूट्यूब से, इंटरनेशनल से, इट्स ए ग्लोबल विलेज, सब कुछ, सारी बात मान ली, सारी बात मान ली. कुछ चीजें थ्योरेटिकल है और कुछ चीजें प्रैक्टिकल हैं. जब किसी की सेवा करनी होती है और जब किसी को लुक आफ्टर करना होता है ओल्ड आदमी को, तो उसको नहलाना भी है, कपड़े भी पहनाने हैं, बॉडी पे पाउडर भी लगाना है, मेडिसिन भी देनी है, दवाई भी देनी है, उसको खाना भी देना है, उसको प्रपोर्शन भी देना है. देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स विच यू हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ. So international curriculum framework to be developed to be accepted across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud that from the state of Punjab, Dr. Nirmaljeet Singh Kalsi, he is an IS officer from 1984 batch. This man, with great enthusiasm, I am watching for last 25 to 26 years. You talk about vocational education, you talk about technical education, you talk about computer education, you talk about engineering education, you talk about agriculture, you talk about manufacturing, you talk about services, you talk about anything, past, present, and future. This man has dedicated his entire life. He's a doctorate. And that doctor is not a medical doctor like a lot of IS officers nowadays are coming from the medical background. He is a professional. That means academic doctor. पूरी जिंदगी खपा दी इस इंसान ने, अपनी पूरी लाइफ को डेडिकेट कर दिया. क्या मैं तो मतलब whenever I have seen, he has taken it as a challenge. His presentations, his entire knowledge bank, the the cerebrum which he carries, and the expertise which he carries as a joint secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, as the additional secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, coming back to the state of Punjab, then taking agriculture department, becoming commissioner, non-resident Indians, thereafter, before that, and taking care of the entire vocational education, technical education, changing the rule, changing the framework, changing new pedagogies, and even in the immigration laws. When he came as a Home Secretary, Government of Punjab, he worked on a portal. What should we do? The children, the people, because migration we cannot stop. Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, they have got a pre-departure training also, which is in alignment with the sector skill councils and the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. And our chamber has done a lot of program on the pre-departure training with them, and almost all the programs what we have attended with them. So what we wish to share over here is he is taking over now as a chairperson, NCVET, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. And with him, there are two another distinguished ladies, Madam Vinita Agarwal ji and Dr. Neena Pahuja ji. And both the ladies and three of them, and then of course you'll have other experts over there. We wish them all the best. This is the new council. It's the beginning of month of April, and this particular council has been announced. We send our best wishes and greetings to them, and we pray to Almighty. India should move ahead. India should rise. India should become Atmanirbhar Bharat. India should give its manpower, its expertise, its ideas, its collaboration, its creativity, its innovation, its incubation. Anything we talk on this planet, these people should give. And here comes the distinguished guest of the evening, non-resident Indians for the Indian education. I'm proud that Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajanji, professor of marketing at the Lamar University, Texas, इनसे थोड़ी सी दूरी पर नासा है, and he is such a dedicated and a devoted, and he is also having a junoon like me, and he is always thinking what good can be done for India and in Indian education ecosystem. We deliberated on new education policy 2020, and we talked about sector skill councils, we talked about vocational education, and how does he look at basically how NRIs can be partner. They may be in social entrepreneurship, they may be in technical experts, they may be coming into some networking, they might be bringing some new experiences with them. You know, all those things are needed. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, I extend a very hearty welcome, and join me in extending our best wishes and greetings to Dr. Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji this evening joining us. And we will start the program with our education prayer, and thereafter we will start today's program. He is totally dedicated soul, and I'm proud of you because you have taken the advisorship of the ICSI, particularly to get the entire education ecosystem together from the United States. We are proud of you, and we extend you a very hearty welcome this evening, Professor Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajanji.
Namaste, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavati Me Sada. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Mahasaraswati Namaha. Very warm good evening to you, sir, or good afternoon, good morning here. We are kind of in a good time of the year right now. We see spring in the air. So in next 10 days, we will be having the Indian New Year's, both the lunar and the solar New Year, the Varsh Pratipada and what the Baishakhi, what we call as Vishu and all that good things. So certainly a time to start looking ahead in terms of new things, because in spring, that is heralds the new year, and because the seeds, if you can see, the plants are sprouting new leaves. There is new vegetation in the air, so that is why we choose spring to herald the new year. So it is a very wonderful time. As usual, I am a shikshak by my profession, and so this is my part of what we call as, in the Indian tradition, we talk about Devaruna, Pritrirana, and Rishirana. So basically, this is my Rishirana. I owe a lot to Bharat, because that's where I got my education until my master's. And so what I'm doing is not giving it back, but paying it forward. So if I'm able to be of value add to the Indian to the Indian society at large, I'm happy. So that's all. I just see, when during the Ramayana they say every squirrel also played a role. They used to carry a small wood, and so we call it squirrel seva. So I'm just a small squirrel for the sake of Atmanirbhar Bharat, for the sake of India becoming a Vishwaguru. So with that premise, let us start our deliberations for today. So as I said, the best thing about our tradition, in fact, yesterday I was listening to Sadhguru Jagdi Vasudevan. He talks a lot about one of the hallmarks of our tradition is the fact that we question everybody. Even, we just don't put people on a pedestal, but there is a Q&A session. And only from this question answers, Prashna Uttar or Chintan Manthan, that's when we get new ideas. And even when Bhagwan comes, whether it's Bhagavad Gita or other Gitas, it's all Prashnottar. We didn't ask Krishna Jnana de do. It is a Q&A process. So I think that is what is important. I think this process of Q&A itself is very empowering. And so I like to go in that, because when we go about in a lecture format, they say too often that knowledge process from the mouths of the professors into the notes of the students without passing through the minds of either of them. Because I was trained in my undergrad degree is electrical engineering, so we used to call all of this note taking overhead transmission business, because things would go past each other, and we would draw. So it is important we reflect. That is why the real sense, when I take some traditional lessons in Shastras and all, we are told not even to have a book. In fact, the Sanskritam classes I have attended, they will say, Pustake ma likatu, mastake likatu. Pustakam, that means your book. Don't write it in your book. Mastake, that means write it in your head. And that is what we need. So a lot of education is about that. And so with that premise, I think let's start our deliberations. Once in a while, I think it is important that we kind of come back to this format, because it is like, it's like, in the Indian tradition, we have a lot of food, but once in a while, we also have fasting, like Ekadashi and all that. The reason is we have to assimilate. We have to chew the cud. So these sessions allow us to reflect, assimilate, and regurgitate what we have done, so that we kind of don't have to binge eat on all of these webinars, but let's reflect on how we can take some of these ideas into a concrete shape. So last 1 month, I think we had a lot of focus on the women empowerment. Previously, we had a little more focus on AI. I think the momentum that we have done, we have got some momentum. We'll keep the focus more on AI going forward. But a lot of it is also a function of the speakers, their willingness and their availability. And sometimes, getting all that in a package is harder. And as more people get vaccinated, the sweet spot that we have on Sundays sometimes is eroding, because Sunday mornings people want to start traveling. So maybe we may also recalibrate the timings as we go along. And the other thing I think we have planned is, I'm a student of Professor Diman. In fact, I noticed that these are the most popular segments. So I've told Professor, had a chat with him also, that we should do something for the e-Gurukuls, and, especially with, there is a lot of possibility in the month of April, May, because we have the Adi Shankara Jayanti and all. But let's go back. But as Swami Vivekananda would say, it is futile to preach Vedanta to a man on an empty stomach. So let's make sure we can develop enough skills so that people all can earn their bread and butter, or roji roti, or dal chawal, whatever it is. Then we can give them vidya, say adhyatma vidya. So that is how our tradition is. First feed the stomach, then feed the brain. So first fill the Madhya Pradesh, then the Uttar Pradesh automatically will start working. And then we will all go into, that is what it is. So let us go from there. So let's work on the Madhya Pradesh aspect of basically giving people skills. And in fact, that is true, even because we talk about, in our tradition, we talk about Kaikam, Vachikam, and Manasam. So there are 3 levels of action. Kaikam means hands, Vachikam means mouth, and Manasikam, that is man. See, at the end of the day, it's all the mind, but then both mouth and hands are extension of the mind. So you have to train the mind. But you have to give the food to, or you have to give work for each part. And so it's important to give more work for the hands. And that's really what, to me, skill development is. So I'm moving more into that direction. So Adhyatma Vidya and all that, we'll talk at the mind level. But then you need to start doing karma. That is the Gyan mark, but this is the karma mark. And so skill development is nothing but karma. Yogaha karma shu kausalam. So this tradition that we have always had in our country, skill development is not something new. We had people, look at this. Look at the temples that have been carved in India. Of course, a lot of them were destroyed, but go to southern part of India, we have the big temple, the big in Tanjavur. That is a masterpiece. We have the Grand Anikat. There's all these Ajanta and Ellora caves. So I think people should reflect on the fact that, again, that we have had a wonderful tradition of guilds, craftsmanship, what we call a Shilpa Shastra, town planning. I think it is important. Then we can take pride in that. How do we go back to it? So when we are going back, it is not like we are establishing a new path. There was this tradition of excellence in crafts, and there was this tradition of excellence in doing stuff that is there in our society. Not only that, there's another thing, and then that is just the opening remarks. There is also this tradition that we are a very innovative society. There is this concept of jugaad and a frugal innovation, where everybody who's on the street is trying to make a living, and a lot of it involves some level of innovation. That is there. This is not me talking through my hat. There is a very masterpiece research paper which is very well read, called there's also a book by that concept, Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. And this bottom of the pyramid concept has been made really popular by the great management guru, the late legendary C.K. Prahlad from University of Michigan. But his inspiration was all of these small micro entrepreneurs that you used to see in India. And he says all of these guys are very innovative. They are all, whether it is, even juicing a sugar cane, he says there is some level of innovation. There's some level of marketing. In fact, I have seen in my own hometown, Bangalore, people will say 99 dosas. What is this 99 dosa model? How can you make 99 dosas? But this is something that is very interesting. You have one dosa base, and then you play with the toppings, and you're able to create 99. It's a marketing strategy, and that's what we tell people. You need to have principle of postponement and last fulfillment. If you can create a common platform, you can create variety, and that's how you meet you are able to achieve the idea of one-on-one marketing. And that's something even our dosa seller on the street is doing it. So as a professor of marketing, I teach that. But There are these examples. Maybe, maybe I'm biased because I have this training and I see those patterns, but not really. If you really look at it, the guy has a good idea why he's doing what he's doing. Because he says the dosa batter is the same. All I have to add is a few toppings, but that makes people happy. So he knows instinctively how to cater to his customers. So the point I'm trying to drive home, sir, is our people are because this society is like that. It's inherently a society where we have had consumption, production and consumption within, of course, an ethical framework. Very rarely we have, this whole idea that we have people will come and cheat, that maybe is there, but by and large, it's even the poorest of the poor have a lot of ethics. And because of that, because there is ethics, you have commerce flourishing, you have trade flourishing, you have industry flourishing. What our goal is to see, how do we create the infrastructure? How do we create the mechanisms? How do we create the policies like the skill council and the vocational training to give a platform to these people to move up to the next stage in life, given the contemporary issues, and how do we help them reach their next frontier in terms of their potential? That is really what it is. I don't come with the idea that we are the gurus. We should, in chemistry, we talk about catalysts. A catalyst does not take part in the reaction, but influences the reaction so that something good happens. Our job is to be catalyst. We have to understand that our people are inherently talented. I mean, even without going into that, I think every human being has inherent potential. I mean, Swami Vivekananda used to say every human being is inherent, potentially divine or latently divine. We just have to get them to manifest that divinity, and giving them a work, giving them job, giving them that satisfaction of earning their bread empowers them like nothing else. Because once they feel that they're able to contribute productivity to society and they're able to achieve their potential, automatically they will go from vidya to adhyatma vidya. We don't know how to do it. We see this all the time. So that is the ecosystem, or that is the ethos of Bharat that I believe in. And I think that is what we should be using as a roadmap going forward. So that's kind of, I think I made a long-winded introduction, but let's go into a Q&A mode, sir.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. You set the context so well and so beautiful, and it made me laugh so many things. I'm going to take away a few good things from you. When you talked about journey from Madhya Pradesh to Uttar Pradesh, I'm going to use this term, Madhya Pradesh. That means your stomach, and Upper Pradesh is Uttar Pradesh. That is your over here. That is
actually,
your.
to be honest, I don't claim this. This is not my original thought. There is a very wonderful speaker, Swami Sukhabodhananda, who talks about, oh mind, please relax. So he used to make this observation. If your Madhya Pradesh is empty, Uttar Pradesh will not work. I just borrow. I'm being honest here. I have to always cite my references. I'll be honest. So all these people have wonderful sense of humor.
And something very nicely you mentioned about, look at the temples, look at the skills, look at the carving, look at the caves. And when you used the word Tanjore, immediately I remembered my friend, Mr. Arumugamji, who is joining us at present from Tamil Nadu. And he sent to me this afternoon, and I'm amazed. He wrote, "Good afternoon, sir. It was 3rd February 1897. 3rd February 1897, when Swami Vivekananda gave this clarion call, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached at Kumbakonam railway station, Tanjore district, Tamil Nadu, on his way back when he was coming from United States, and he came to Kanyakumari, and from there he boarded the train and he was moving further."
So can I give you a couple of references about Kumbakonam? Because see, I think this channel I like this to be a little freewheeling, because
yes.
Yeah, and you talk about tourism. Kumbakonam is a very famous place, very holy for people who are, especially from Tamil Nadu. But every 12 years there is a festival called, like Kumbh Mela, we have something called Mahamakam. So in the month of around February. So once in 12 years there is a great Kumbh Mela Snan. But Kumbakonam is also the head of It was also a center for Vedic learning. And as I told you, my affiliation goes back to the Kanchipuram Shankaracharya. And in fact, I'm very fortunate to be part of a NRI initiative to support some Vedic education there. So I'm very familiar with that part. But it has temples, about 1,000 temples. And the food, the cuisine is awesome. And the Kumbakonam is very famous for its coffee. But last but not the least, Kumbakonam produced one of the most original thinkers, not only of this century, but of all times. The great mathematics genius, Srinivasan Ramanujan, who comes from Kumbakonam. So Kumbakonam is a very, very interesting place. It's not very far from where the Tanjavur temple is, but it's also part of that Kaveri Delta. And the best of Kaveri Delta culture, Kumbakonam is synonymous with. It has brass industry, So I think we should focus on these kind of towns that were the mainstay of our culture, so to speak. There used to be a major, what you call a bog. You call it as langar or bog. During this Kumbh Mela and all, there were major annadanams or annadan when people used to be fed. About almost 1 million people used to be fed. Again, it goes back to people. We talk about today service industry. How do you feed 1 million people, or I don't know, 1 million could be a little far-fetched, but several lakhs of people with a makeshift tent. To me, there's nothing short of service was operation. There was a great gentleman called Annadanam Shivan, who was very close to Shankaracharya, and who rose up to the task. And I don't know what was the level of education these people had, but it'd be interesting to study cases of these kind of people. So remember, this is all spiritual, but this is all very interesting. How did they procure so much inventory of vegetables and produce to cook for so many people? And I don't know what the infection rate was. I don't know if anybody had food poisoning. That is the level of shraddha that people bring. So if today India is getting into the model of health innovation, Narayana Hridayalaya and all, it is good, but we have to understand that culture has been there for a long time, that we have been able to produce quality stuff at volumes, service at volumes. That has already been there. We should go back in the past. I mean, there are these, I'm sure every region has case studies, because Kumbh Mela happens once in 12 years. How do you organize the Kumbh Mela? That is nothing short of a service science. And I think, again, I'm just exploring how do we get our research done on these topics from the standpoint of increasing and improving our efficiency. There is a lot of lessons to learn. It's not that people talk about Kaizen, people talk about Japanese management, German management, Korean shabols. All that is good, but I've always wondered, why have we not focused on our Indian traditions here? Maybe this is the time right now. Maybe we should have that. Again, not in a jingoistic way, but what can we learn so that this can be replicated across contexts? That's really the point.
Great. And something very interesting, once again, Arumugamji is so very happy, high elated, sir, to hear about Kumbakonam. And he's writing daily Anna Danam by
Vallalarji.
Vallalarji.
Yeah, at Vadalu. Yes, Vallalarji was a great saint.
Okay.
Again, you talk about humanity. He was a saint who believed in whole of humanity. And sir, Gulshanji, I wish there was a series where we introduce all of India to each of our regional great people, because now previously language was a barrier, but today with the internet and all, I think ICISA kind of platform, I think every Indian should know about Tagore. Of course, maybe we know about Tagore more because the national song or national anthem. But every Indian should know about the Kashmiri Shaivite scholars, the poets of Punjab. How many of us know about Maithilishar and Gupta? How many of us know about the poets of Mithila region? How many of us know about the poets in Karnataka, the Dasa Sahitya and the Vachanas? And how many of us know about the Malayalam poets? The poems of Bharati, or the poems of Bharati or Tirukural. I mean, a lot of it is still, so much is there. So as we do Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is important that, because only a poet, when you talk of creativity, who can be more creative than a poet? And all of these creative ideals that people talk about today have been exposed by our poets, at least for the last so many generations. I think all of these poetry, if they can be circulated, that will raise the collective aspirations. And one more observation about Swami Vivekananda, that statement that he made about arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. That is basically from Kathopanishad. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata. So that is, in fact, I always have it as my signature line. So that's very special to me. And to me, that again, that one line itself is good enough for Atmanirbhar Bharat for another so many generations. Look at the spirituality of the man. But of Vivekananda is very special to people in Tamil Nadu, because he came to Chennai. He spent a month, almost 9 days, but then he went to Rameshwaram, and from there he took the boat mail, and then he took the ship to USA, and on the way back he came back. So that's why he came to Kumbakonam, and that's where he kind of had this moment. And he also went to Kumari.
Okay, great.
And in fact, there is a temple in Chennai called Parthasarathi Temple, very close to the beach, where there is a letter by Swami Vivekananda to Sri Krishna, who's in the form of Parthasarathi. He talks about his vision for nation using the Bhagavad Gita as a canvas. I think that's something people should read. Great. A lot about we can go on. But anyway, go ahead. We have kind of digressed from national and vocational.
No. It's very nice. It's very nice. It's becoming more practical. That is the way we should talk about it. It should be related to our day-to-day life and what all has happened in the past. Now, Awadh Narayan Dikshit ji, who is joining from Lucknow, he is enjoying it so much when you talked about Kumbh Mela.
Yeah. I think there's a Kumbh Mela happening as we speak. So,
So he's very happy. And there's one Arun Garg ji. He's a principal of a very prestigious school in one of the rural areas in the state of Punjab. He's writing, kindly tell about few social engineers.
नहीं एक्चुअली क्या है ना, इंजीनियर का ये मतलब चलता है कि वी वर ट्राइंग टू करेक्ट सम मिस्टेक. मैं ये नहीं मानता. आई ऑलवेज believe our dharmic tradition has always been for the manifestation of the divine that is latent in everybody. Sabka kalyan, sabka uddhar, all that is part of our dharma. But reinterpretation is probably what I would think. Reinterpreting the message, because kya ho jata hai, jab society changes, some of the messages that may have been relevant in a different yuga or a different context changes. And ab bhi dekh lijiye, you might AC temperature like a thermostat. What is set for summer will not work for winter. So once in a while you have to recalibrate. So isko engineering to nahi kahunga, reinterpretation, recalibration ke lijiye, because you want to make sure the apparatus is incongruent to the goal that it wants to go. So there are a lot of people. In fact, the greatest of all of them, in my opinion, since he has asked me names, is none other than Adi Shankaracharya ji, who reinterpreted the Shastras to not say that, hey, it was all about Swarg Prapti nahi hai, Atma Uddhar ke liye hai. So that is what he did. The same thing was done by Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, all those great scholars. Tulsidas ji, there cannot be a greatest saint on earth. In fact, I am convinced, about three or four people have really brought India in a way that we are seeing today. Of course, Adi Shankaracharya ji reinvigorated the Sanatan Dharma and made India one. In a way, politically, to nahi tha, but culturally he always said, because he created 4 or 5 Gaddis, north, south. He always had this vision of Vedic India as one. Today, what is the greatest text? People say it is Bhagavad Gita, sure. But one text that unites Hindus across the board, to me, is Tulsidas ji's Ramcharitmanas and Hanuman Chalisa. I am a Sanskrit, I don't want to use the word snob. I use the Sanskrit language in my tradition. But the interpretation that I get when I read, a Doha of Tulsidas ji or even Hanuman Chalisa, that I can't find anywhere. Tulsidas ji is the greatest, in my opinion. Great. And all of these people stayed within tradition and brought it back. Of course, you can talk about the Alvars and the Nayanmars of South India. They are there. The Vachanas, the Dasa Sahitya in Karnataka. There are a number of these people. Again, that is why, the great singer the great composer of Tamil Nadu, he composes in Telugu, but he lived on Kaveri. So, Saint Tyagaraja says, Endaro Mahanubavalu Andariki Vandalu. Basically, there are so many great people. How many people? I can't. So countlessly, he offers a collective pranam to all these great men. So that is the thing. I just named a few. I'm sure there are great poets, there are great scholars from, Kashmir. There are great scholars from Punjab. We just don't know a lot of them. That's why we need a coach.
We will just connect to that. You have given a very important points. I will take a lead from there. When you're talking about Sangeet, when you're talking about Tulsi Das ji, when you're talking, this morning session of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita went all the way in a different direction, and you'll be surprised to know those of you who have missed this morning session at 9:30, whatever I have listened from Professor Satyendra Dhimanji till date, today's session which he has given was altogether awesome, different, on a different trajectory. Today he talked about something very interesting. There used to be a parivar. From parivar we came to bazar, and from bazar everything has become vyapar. Oh, ho, 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 ho. He told we were parivar. The whole world was one family, and there were joint families. हम सब लोग इकट्ठा रहते थे. Our parents, our grandparents, brothers, sisters, we all were together, and things moved on. And there he talks about from parivar we came to bazar, that is globalization. And then from there he says everything is vyapar. And today, those of you who enjoy music, oh my God, you should go on GS Motivator after this program. Where you are watching this program now, please go on the GS Motivator and see this morning Professor Satyendra Dhiman's program after this webinar. He today talked about Tansen, and then he talked about Tansen complete structure, and from there he says come to Kansen. From Tansen come to Kansen. And he told there are 10 scales in the Indian classical music. Oh my God. He talked about Rag Bhairavi. He talked about Rag Malkosh. He talked about so many other Komal Swar. And then he quoted one gentleman called Nikhil Banerjee, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Allah Duni, Hari Prasad Chaurasia, Bhim Sen Joshi, Surata Chaudhary. And then he came on 5 ragas of Tansen. Then Tansen's guru, he talked about Haridas ji. And then Tansen's son name was Bilas Khan. And then he came to Asavari, Darbari, Rag Tansen. I didn't know that Rag Darbari was made by Tansen. And then he told कि इसको रात्रि के दूसरे पहर में, then Bhairavi Rag, Malhar Rag, Khamaz Rag, Amer Khan Rag. You will say कि कहाँ जा रहा हूँ मैं? This is not me. It is this morning in Shrimad Bhagavad Gita's deliberation by Professor Satyendra Dhiman. And thereafter he gave so many other things. Oh my God, it was mind-blowing. After this session, when you get time, I would request you, please go through. You will enjoy that, what he discussed. Now, let me come back over here. Professor Saab, you were talking about Jammu and Kashmir, and you were talking about Northern India. What relationship you feel between Kanchipuram and when I talk about Jammu and Kashmir, or when I talk about that region?
This is interesting that you've asked this question today. I'm actually organizing a series of lectures through the Kanchipuram Matham on the topic of Adi Shankara Stotras by a great scholar, P.R. Kannanji from Mumbai. What about the Shakti Pitas? As you remember, the Shakti Pitas, when Mataji ka jo, the first avatar is Sati, Dakshayani or Sati, and when she dies, her dead body is taken by Mahadev and he walks all over. And Vishnuji kind of puts the chakra, and then there are parts that fall across various parts of India. That is what Shakti Pits. That story everybody knows. Comes in Shiv Puran and all that. So there are question is how many Shakti Pits, and I think there are 2 versions. One is 108, of which 54 are important, of which 3 are the most important. It's just top nations, top 5 pucha apne, so top kya hota hai? So in fact, yesterday only I found this information. The top 3 Shakti Pits they are all, can somebody guess? I can take a 1-minute quiz question. Like, if does anybody want to guess what the top 3 might be?
Let them post in the YouTube. Let them post in the YouTube.
Exactly.
आप सब लोग लिखिए as per the question which has been given by Professor Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji, that there are different stories and there are 108 Shakti Peeths. Which are the top main 3 Shakti Peeths in India? This is the question, and whosoever answers correctly, Vivek Shankarji is going to tell that this is the correct answer. That person is going to get 1,000 rupees this evening. Come on, let's have it. Who tries? We have also been joined by Vikas Malhotra from Canada. Great. Thank you. Gurinder ji, Mamta ji, Arun Garg ji, Sakshi ji, and Gurinder ji. Yeah, great. Uma ji. Keep writing. Thank you. Music is a part of complete elementary education. Yes, something great.
I'm waiting for the questions. Okay.
Yes.
Abhi tak koi jawab nahi aaya because I'm also watching it live on YouTube. So, okay, in the interest of time, I'll tell you one thing. There are 3 repeats, right? The one is supposed to be Kamakhya.
एक आ गया अरुण गर्ग जी का, वैष्णो माता, Shangeri, and Naina Devi.
Actually, all of those are there, but the top 3 as per
Top
what
3, yes. So Arun ji, we are asking for top 3.
मैं बता देता हूँ. Kamakhya in Assam.
Kamakhya, yes.
Jwalamukhi in Himachal Pradesh.
Which one? Jwalamukhi.
Yes.
Okay.
And Kanchipuram. So आपने ये पूछा ना, so to me, Jwalamukhi is not very far from Kashmir. So Kashmir and Kanyakumari is just connected. Similarly, I think this Kanchipuram has been a place where Adi Shankara's last days were spent. And the Kanchi Peeth is his own Peeth. He had 4 Peeths that he gives to Shishyas, but unke liye apna chunata. And Kanchipuram is that Shakti Peeth. In fact, there's a prayer that before Ram ka janam hua tha, so Maharaj Jashath came here and had a puja done for Kamakshi. So this is so old. And Kanchipuram is also a place there's the Shiva Kanchi, Vishnu Kanchi, Brahma Kanchi, and all. There's a lot about it. We need a whole session on that. So, but Kanchipuram, the Shankaracharya, 69 Shankaracharya was very, very focused on Ram Janmabhoomi. But they also realized that with all the invasions, the Kashmiri Pandits, they needed some temples to be there and all that. So they started doing the tradition of Adi Shankaracharya Jayanti in Srinagar Shankaracharya Hill. So that is something that the Kanchipuram Shankaracharyas have been doing. And they also have been doing a lot of propagation of the Vedic samskars for the Kashmiri Pandits because they don't have a place right now because now only it's all coming back. So how do you preserve this culture of Kashmiri Pandits? That's something that the Kanchipuram Shankaracharyas have been very focused on. I have witnessed the Shankaracharya come to Chandigarh when I was a student, and he made a whole trip to Ladakh to have a Sindhu Snan. That is the level of, because Sapta Sindhu. So when you talk of Sapta Sindhu, we don't talk of Sapta Ganga. We talk of Sapta Sindhu, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati. So our tradition is Sindhu. We are all Sindhu Putras. That's why we are India. So when that Ladakh Sindhu was happening, Sindhu Darshan, they went, there was a great connection between it. So, for just like for every Hindu or every Indian, Kanyakumari is so important. Rameshwaram is so important. Similarly, for every Southern Indian now, Kashmir is so important because of Amarnath and also Ladakh. So that is a connection. I don't know if the connection is very explicit, but it is more of an emotional connection than a rational connection. If you ask me, how are you connected to your hand? I can say hand is part of me. So I'm part of my hand. My hand is part of me. We are all, Sindhu is part of my identity. Whenever I go, I'm called a Hindu, and Hindu comes from Sindhu. And Sindhu is, Ladakh and Sindhu are synonymous. So like that, this is part of my identity.
Okay.
Kashmir Shaivism was very, very famous. It is even now famous. Same thing, the Kashmiri Tantra is very famous. All of that has influenced the liturgy that is happening. And Adi Shankaracharya's Dakshinamurti Stotram is said to have been composed with inspiration from the Kashmiri Shaivism philosophy. So that is the connection. So it's a very deep connection. In fact, they're all one. I mean, we are all one thing. It's just that manifestations change.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's get back to our main question. before we come to concluding in another 5-7 minutes. That is, how do you look at the vocational education abroad, particularly in America, where you are? How do you look at it?
Now, I'll tell you one thing, sir. I always, I could give statistics, but statistics, there are a lot of people geared to give that. I mean, that's my training. I do statistical analysis for a living. I teach that for a living. But honestly, that's not where I'm going, because I believe stories tell something that, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and one word is worth 1,000 statistics. So pictures are the most compelling way. That is why today everything is all visual. Now, last month, we had this winter storm in our state of Texas. Yeah. So many millions were without power. So many millions. What happens? There's an interesting thing here. When the pipes are all designed in such a way that they can't handle the freeze. So when the water freezes inside the pipe, when the temperature drops below freezing, you have to either there are two things. You shut off the valve and no water goes in, then the pipe is okay. Or you have to keep the pipe dripping, the water has to keep flowing, then the pipes will not freeze. Otherwise, what happens is, when the pipes freeze, they will burst. And a lot of them go through what's called as the attic, which is like in the roof. So when the attic bursts, it's a major repair. So the loss is pretty catastrophic, and for 3-4 days, you can't touch your homes. More than that, this is disruption, and what do? And so people needed plumbing. And guess what? All plumbers are booked up. Plumbers are more busier than surgeons now. I go to, even now, last week, it's almost 45 days. Luckily for me, I was fortunate. I had wrapped up everything well, and I closed out the water supply. Nothing major happened. I tried to, there's only a small pipe which is outdoor. I just put it as a outdoor pipe. That broke, and to get that fixed, the guy I kept calling, it took 45 days for him to show up. He says, no plumber is available. There are people coming from other states to offer plumbing services. That is the level of shortage that we had. And not only that, no plumbing supplies were available. The point I'm driving home is, we all want to create the best supercomputers. We all want to have smart homes. But at the end of the day, what will cripple you is not, all these. What cripples you is the basics, like plumbing, electricians, AC. My AC goes wrong, I can't sleep. And we don't have good people to service that. It's a tremendous shortage, because everybody wants to now go and do AI. Understandable. But there is a lot of, but actually people miss out. There is actually, these are good jobs and they pay well. And if you are smart, you can actually, the people have done very well. Same thing with, sometimes I've seen this, whenever the economy is strong, we don't see a lot of enrollment in our schools, in our programs. Why? Because everybody goes and works in the refineries, and they say we make more money. And of course, it's arguable which is important. Should we have more income, or should we have more jobs? I always say this: it's good to get the best education, but make sure you don't have any student debt. We should not have any rin. Rin nahi hona chahiye. So vocational training is good in that sense. It is shorter, it is sweeter, it is more focused, and hopefully it gets you the job. And these days with online universities, and we are talking, at one of these days in the future, we'll be getting some major scholars from India and from the US to talk about digital universities. If all that comes, it is not a 0 or 1. It is not a either or. You can have lifelong learning through digital universities. So in that case, there is no stigma also with vocational. What is this? You're earning your bread with your own hand, and you're not putting anybody in debt. That is the best thing that can ever happen to you. So partly it's not, the vocational training has to be accompanied with a change of mindset. That is where I applaud our Prime Minister. Who was the persons he has honored? Corona workers, Safai Karmacharis. These are the people he is honoring, and he's putting them on a pedestal. Because remember, without that service sector, that blue-collar sector, we will all be really miserable. So it is important. And in fact, we should also take pride. In fact, I know a lot of my friends who have well-paying jobs, but on a day they are not working, they will ditch everything. They will wear a blue jeans or a white overhaul, and they have their workbench, and they are doing carpentry. But I've done my own carpentry. Sometimes I do my own gardening, because there is a fun there. So you should be very happy to even do the kind of jobs you're doing. Then what happens, you start developing a respect for that profession. Most of the time what's happened is we are taught this ivory tower kind of workplace, education, where we are diverse from reality. Some level of hands-on experience is important.
Wonderful.
And
You remember that you brought one Mr. Goswami from your place,
yes.
and just narrate about that. Such an interesting, Mr. Goswami having cows all the way next to NASA and in Texas. Just share.
No, actually, it is very interesting. My friend Rajiv Verma, in fact, yesterday he called me at like 10:45 and said, Vivek ji, we are getting the Pratipada, Varsha Pratipada. We have to do something. I said, let us do some Havan, koi baat nahi. And see, I've become the Havan guy, right? But I'll do it because I don't charge anything. And of course, I say, koi dakshina dena, Pandit ji ke dena. Sometimes what happens is that we have people like us, we are able to mitigate service shortage, because with one Pandit, they can't go everywhere. So we are like, so that is another thing. Knowing service skills helps. So I can do my gardening, I can change I can change my tires, obviously, but that gives you a lot of confidence. But coming to Goswami ji, he brought his own tractors, he's trying to till his own land. He says there is a lot of fun there. We are all basically Dharti Putras, and the connect happens when you do that hands-on thing. Your connection with nature is much more stronger and you feel more healthy. That was his basic thing. And and a lot of times, even if you don't do everything by yourself, but you know how to do it, you are a lot more empowered in terms of being a consumer, as being even shopping for services. Exactly, somebody cannot cheat you. That is a big thing. Even my father also is, even at this age, he manages to do quite a bit of repairs himself. And so there should be no stigma then. In fact, I will go and step in and clean my own toilets, because I think that's the best thing. In fact, if that is the fun thing you should do. You should be able to clean your own stuff, get your own oil changes done, cars. But at the same time, I'm also a believer in employment generation. So sometimes I like to spend money so that you create jobs also. But at the same time, having the skills that can you change, let's say in an emergency, can you change stuff? You should know. So I have one of the best things I do in here is I have my own tool collection. I have my own toolbox and I love it. So the point I'm trying to drive home is it's a mindset. So more than vocational and all that, the mindset up change karo and I think our students also say everybody wants to go coding good, but computer ko hardware ko ठीक करने किसी को तो आना चाहिए.
Brought out, and I think this exercise is a must. We keep getting people throughout the week. Why not? We should get some deliberations at our own also, because you are the one who brings so many people from time to time. And sometime if we sit together and we talk, today I think it's a beautiful cerebrum shaking and mental marathon, and which we have done together. What are your final concluding remarks?
आपने एक शब्द का प्रयोग किया, cerebrum. ये भी मैंने सुना है कि वो हमारा संस्कृत से ही आता है. Cerebrum मतलब शिरोबलम, वहीं से आता है. You have to be etymology देखिए, तो that is another thing. हमारे जो बच्चे हैं उनको वो सीखना चाहिए, etymology. ये शब्द का प्रयोग कहाँ से आता है? सर्पः, serpent, there's a lot of those examples. So again, not to be jingoistic, but the world is one family, but we should be proud of that heritage that we inherit. Because once you are proud, then what happens is automatically you will see that it is no longer work or it is no longer a problem. You will enjoy what you're doing. And vocational training, in that sense, I think it has important implications, because as India becomes more service oriented, you need a service class to help facilitate the infrastructure. किसी को तो बनाना ना, किसी को तो रखना चाहिए. So many cars are going to be on the road. Who's going to service them? Electric cars are going to be coming. I know Tata is investing big in electric cars. I'm sure Mahindra also will do. So, but somebody has to be there to service this. And I'll tell you what, the reason, in fact, I like to spend too much money on upgrading my cars, but I spend a lot of money on maintenance of my car. And so to me, the right mechanic matters to me than the right manufacturer, because manufacturing defect be problem hai na, the mechanic can fix it. And that is very inspiring. In the US, all the mechanics typically they are from the Middle Eastern nations like Palestine or Lebanon, and they're very interesting. But once they recognize, and we have a chat, they're very hardworking people, and they're very frugal. They know how to use parts. They know this. Okay, if you're a budget shopper, they know how to make that happen. And remember, the longer you can keep anything with, as I say, it also goes back with recycling and all that. The more service class you have, what will happen is, in fact, there is a movement in the US now where they're saying, we should have the ability to repair our own stuff. We are throwing away too much stuff because we can't repair it. So if we don't have that skills in repairing, what will happen is we'll have to manufacture more and more, and that from a sustainability standpoint is bad. So reuse, recycle, repurpose, that is important. And having a service class that can work on these type of problems is important, even from a sustainability standpoint. We talk of circular economy. Why should we throw away a phone because it is no longer useful? I mean, can it be repurposed as at least a music player? How do we reuse what we have? That, again, if you have service class, it will have, so vocational training also has to look into these kind of issues. How can it help with sustainability, circular economy, greening the ecosystem, creating more jobs locally? So I think all of these should be the overall topic, the overall policies guiding the vocational training. That is where the opportunities are, I think. It is just not vocational thinking, just don't be going in one path, but as more new products are created, as waves of innovation unleash more new products, we need people who can go and work on these products. It's not important to manufacture these products. It's also important to be able to service them and keep them in good shape. And that's probably where all of these, vocational training will definitely help.
Great. Right? Thank you. What a wonderful views and inputs of yours. Ladies and gentlemen, I have posted one link of the YouTube in the today's ongoing program. It's very important for all of you. Whenever you get time, I would request you, because when Professor Dr. Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji used Sanskrit and cerebrum, I immediately recollected, which I sent across to Professor Satendra Dhiman. I came across one video. It is title on the YouTube is The Untold Story of Sanskrit. The Untold Story of Sanskrit, a film on research about Sanskrit and computing, Project Shivohom. And that is the project link I have sent across to all of you. And finally, something very nicely Professor Dhimanji told this morning, जो केवल अपना भला चाहता है वो दुर्योधन है, जो अपनों का भला चाहता है वह युधिष्ठिर है, और जो सबका भला चाहता है वो श्री कृष्ण है. ये आज के मॉर्निंग के प्रोग्राम में इट वाज सो इंटरेस्टिंग. सो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, हम तो सबका भला चाहते हैं, पूरे विश्व का कल्याण चाहते हैं, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इंडिया ऑलवेज टॉक्स अबाउट आत्मनिर्भर भारत एंड वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. Excuse me. Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji has also sent across thanks to all of you, and he had been so wonderful, and he is always very, very energetic, innovative, pragmatic, futuristic, and he always draws new roads, new road lines, and new milestones, everything for us. So ICSI will keep moving in that particular direction. Thank you very much for coming for today's session with all of us. And let's have the closing prayer from your side while conveying thanks to the entire universe, entire humanity for their most valuable time, and to remain positive, creative, innovative, vibrant, futuristic, and helping the entire humanity.
Thank you. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Saab. It was so very kind of you. Wish you great day ahead. Thank you very much. Please go ahead with your routine, your puja, your other things. You have been so kind to spare time for all of us. Thank you.
This is also a form of puja, because, adhyayana madhyapanam. So I am supposed to share what I know. So to me,